Hi everyone. Well, I'm back. Took a couple week break. Jerry and I had an amazing vacation and we are back, refreshed, ready to roll, ready to hit videos again, and ready to head out in the garden again. I actually have not been out in the garden for about 2 weeks. So I'm going to take you guys along with me, head around, check things out. I'm sure there's some things that went well and some things that didn't go well. Now I did have my drip irrigation running on a timer. That's the only way I could ever go on vacation. And I had our son Drew here checking things out, keeping an eye on things, but he's not a gardener, so he's not so into plants like I am. So I'm a little bit nervous what I might find. So let's go check it out. Well, I can see right away something that went really well is the scarlet runner beans. These beans are just going crazy. They're growing up over that arch, even grew up into the hanging baskets and then over into the hummingbird feeders. So I think I've got some pretty oversized beans here. So these will definitely be good for harvesting for seeds or for dried beans. Scarlet runner beans, you definitely want to catch them when they're small. So these are getting overgrown, but wow, does it ever look pretty. So I'm gonna head down here through the arch, and I think Mac missed us while you were away, didn't you, Mac? Yeah, he was really glad to see us when we get home. So this is so overgrown I can hardly even get through the arch. Now we had some cooler weather while we were away, which I was really glad, but at the end, the last few days we were gone, we got hit with some really high temperatures in the upper 90s. So I can already see there's lots of things that are toasted. The sunflowers look like they're pretty much near the end of their life, but I do like to leave these in because the birds love them. The squirrels love them too, which I don't mind that because hopefully it keeps the squirrels off the rest of my plants. But I like to leave them in for the stalks to dry, and then I use the stalks for trellises for other plants. Now I did want to peek right here at where I planted some greens for our fall garden. Got a little bit of a start on that before we left. We started the fall garden series. A great thing to plant for fall to start right off with is greens. They grow very well in the cooler temperatures. And I've got some radishes coming up here too. Now the radishes are not going to bulb up in the heat. So I'll be definitely be replanting these radishes, but the red mustard greens are doing surprisingly well in spite of the heat, so I'm really happy to see that. Of course, there's going to be a lot of weeds in the garden, but all in all, this garden bed looks really, really good. And we are going to be doing a lot more videos on fall gardening. Now is a great time to start your fall crops in Southern California. So we are going to be ready to roll with that. Quick look here at the herb garden. Ooh, I'm already spotting a problem. A caterpillar. See that? Fuzzy guy. He is eating his way right through my basil. Look at all the holes in that basil. So we're going to have to get in here and spray. Wow. He is really chowing down. So normally what I do is I just pick the caterpillars off, throw them in the green bin, but they've gone unabated for 2 weeks, so I'm afraid that I'm going to find a lot of holes in the garden. Now you can see here the scarlet runner beans are starting to brown at the bottom, which is very typical for beans. So I'm not sure how much longer these will last. The herb garden looks pretty overgrown, but all in all, it doesn't look too bad aside from the holes in the basil. Oh wow, look at all those weeds over against the fence. So man, there is a lot of trimming that needs to be done. Now before I left, I did spray everything down with neem oil, which I was really hoping would help with the powdery mildew. And this squash plant, oh my gosh, this looks amazing. So definitely one of the things that went well so far. I trimmed all the powdery mildew leaves off the bottom. This squash has worked out so well. Oh my gosh, look at that giant zucchini. That is crazy. This squash I'm growing vertically up a tomato cage, and what you do is you keep the bottom leaves trimmed and then feed it up the cage as it grows. And the neem oil, it's a bonide neem oil, has really been helping with the powdery mildew. But let's head in here and get a closer look at the squash. Definitely a baseball bat size. I harvested everything before I left. Wow. This thing is a whopper. I'm going to go ahead and pull this off. I'm not sure if I can do this with one hand and hold the camera with the other, but let's give it a go. I'm just going to twist it. Oh my gosh, this thing is humongous. I think I'm going to make some zucchini lasagna out of that. Kind of fun, I have to admit. Okay, another thing we've had issues with is the hornworm. So Again, one of the things that didn't go well, I can see we've got some hornworm damage here. So classic sign is stripped leaves. They love the tomatoes, but they'll also get on your eggplants, sometimes your peppers. You might have seen my Instagram post on that yesterday up on the container garden. So we'll be coming out and keeping an eye on that for sure. So taking a little bird's eye shot here of the garden, I'm pretty excited to get down in here. The cucumbers right in front of me here, these are getting a lot of some type of disease, probably leaf spot, probably heat damage, probably just getting to the end of their life. I had pruned this and sprayed it with neem before I left. The zinnias are looking fabulous. A lot of times they get powdery mildew, but those all got sprayed with neem. Now zinnias are plants that can keep on growing if you live in a warm climate like I do here in Southern California. So, you know, trim them back, spray them for powdery mildew, and what I like to do is cut them right here, and that way they kind of keep branching out, and then you can bring the beautiful cut flowers into the house and it will encourage them to keep on blooming. So let's get along front here and take a look at the cucumbers. Oh, I can already see some casualties in the tomatoes. Lots of dried leaves, lots of yellowing leaves. Ooh, lots and lots of aphids on the sunflower. So I may have to go ahead and take some of these sunflowers out because they're going to be dropping aphids everywhere. Now this tomato is looking pretty sad. Oh man, I'm actually pretty sad about this. This is a chocolate sprinkles. It was a late season tomato that I planted maybe a month or so ago. I did not expect that to happen. The heat probably got to it. It just got totally toasted. So this one will probably have to be pulled out. But I may go ahead and plant some new tomato plants just because we will have a couple more months of warm weather here. Or maybe I'll just give up on the tomatoes for the year and plant some peas. This would be a perfect spot to plant peas. So quick look here at the cucumbers. These cucumbers and the large red cherry tomatoes growing over the arch here. Definitely getting a nice full arch. Got a lot of tomatoes to harvest. I can see up in here with the large red cherries. These babies are just so tasty. So super excited to harvest that. If you look down here though, I can tell the squirrels and the rats have been having fun while we're gone. Look at all these shredded pieces of tomato. So I don't know how the larger tomatoes went. If I'm even going to have any ripe ones after the squirrels get to them. So these cucumbers are looking pretty much near the end of their life. I'll probably go ahead and start pulling out those. The kale though, and the Tiny Tim tomatoes look fantastic. Oh, wow, lots more tomatoes in there that the critters got to. These Tiny Tims went in maybe a month to 6 weeks ago. They look very healthy. You can see what a difference between the brand new tomatoes just planted, second wave, and some of the other ones that have yellow spots and that were planted earlier in the season. Kale looks great, chard looks great. These were all just cut back maybe a month or so ago. This chard was completely hacked back, and you can see kale was completely hacked back right before I left, and you can see there's already new growth going on there. So pretty excited about that. Okay, cucumbers here. Ugh, definitely not so good. So these are pretty much at the end of their lives. We'll be pulling those out. Got a little lemon cucumber here. Now it's always exciting to come back from being gone because you really do see the growth. Sometimes when you are in your garden day to day, you don't really notice the growth. So it's pretty fun to see a ton of growth. This squash looks amazing. I actually almost pulled this out because it wasn't looking so good with powdery mildew. Sprayed it with neem oil, watered it with the Good Dirt plant food, and oh my gosh, I think I threw some vermistera in there too. Wow. The growth on this is fantastic. We should get a lot more squash out of this. Uh-oh, another giant one. Okay, I think this is the granddaddy of all giant squash that I have ever picked. 2 weeks of zucchini growth here. This is what it does. I'll leave that one and come back and pick it a little bit later. So here's another round of tomatoes that I put in about 6 weeks ago. This I think is maybe a husky cherry, I'm not sure. Looking pretty good, so happy about that. A lot of yellowing growth at the bottom. So the name of the game is for today, over the next week or so, is to prune, get rid of the old, and replant some new. Lots of yellowing. Oh my goodness. This is Kellogg's breakfast, you guys. Fabulous. Not quite ripe, but I'm so glad the critters didn't get to that one. So this is definitely something that went well. Here we've got some 3 ripe Kellogg's breakfast. Pretty exciting. I think tonight a good meal would be the garden fresh grilled cheese. We haven't had fresh tomatoes for a couple of weeks since we've been gone, so I'm really hankering for that. That is going to be fantastic. Now let's take a quick look here at the passion fruit. Wow, lots of new growth on the passion fruit. So exciting. And let me see if I have any ripe ones. We had a few on the vine right before I left, but not quite ripe. You can see right there, so we'll be waiting a little bit for that. And I actually see a ripe passion fruit that must have fallen off the vine right there in the pathway. Now, passion fruit are kind of a tart, sour fruit, but from what I understand, it's my first year growing them, you can let them sit on the counter till they kind of wrinkle up. Well, this one's out in the garden till it wrinkles up. So I may be trying this one with my smoothie for breakfast. Supposedly once it wrinkles, it's supposed to kind of sweeten up a little bit. What do you think, Mac? Want to try it? So I think all in all, the hill fared pretty well. Let's check out the Smart Pots deck here. Wow, lots and lots of growth. The squash look like, oh, they actually look okay. They've got some powdery mildew, some yellowing leaves. We'll take care of that. Wow, look at the peppers. California Wonder. Oh my gosh, these are my favorite. Several ripe, 2 ripe ones at least on there, several coming on. The eggplant, ugh. Looks like some spider mites. It's a whole lot taller than when I left, but definitely spider mites. See all the speckling leaves on there? Everything got sprayed with neem before I left, but you know what? There's only so much you can do. So we'll be trimming this. Don't think I have any eggplant on there. A couple of flowers coming on, so we'll see if this plant survives. But definitely the beans in the back there are ready to come out. Way overgrown cucumbers, and my art of scarlet runner beans has definitely seen better days. So that we will probably be taking out this weekend. So stay tuned for that. I think what we're going to do is pull them out. Camera guy is going to help me, and probably plant some peas there. Nice cool weather peas. It's getting a little bit cooler. This morning is probably only in the high 50s. So it feels really nice to have a little bit of cooler fall weather here in SoCal. But we could always get those last heat waves. Now I'm really happy with how these mums have come back. Starting to bloom again. I trimmed them way back, and they've been starting to bloom right before I left, but I think that looks so pretty. But mums are a great fall flower to plant. They come in so many different colors. These I've had in here for about a year, and what you can do is just cut them back, deadhead the flowers, so trim off the spent flowers, and the flowers will rebloom. Zinnias are looking really good. Definitely need some deadheading on the zinnias as well, and then those will probably keep blooming for a couple of months, so pretty happy with that. Well, it does feel really good to be back out in the garden again. It was nice to have a break. I was getting a little bit burned out, but it's nice to be back. There's nothing like home, right? Going on vacation is fun, but home sweet home and home sweet garden. Well, behind me is the fountain planter. Now, we had lots and lots of troubles with squirrels on the tomatoes, so I'm going to check out the Aunt Ruby's German green tomato and see how that one fared. Well, I can tell right off the bat there are a ton of beautiful tomatoes on that plant. Definitely got some heat damage, but man, this plant has just gone to town this summer. It's probably, I want to say 8 feet tall. It is in a planter here, which raises it up just a little bit, a raised bed, but there's at least 10 tomatoes. So let's see if there's any ripe ones. Well, they actually all look like they need a little bit more time on the vine. Not too sure what that is. It looks like some type of a moth, or maybe it's just a growth coming out of the tomato. Yeah, I think it is. But lots of green ones on here. So these will definitely be maybe another week or 2 ripening. Totally need some trimming here. And the eggplant, yellowing, browned leaves. So definitely took a little bit of a toll with the heat. This one, I love this eggplant here, you guys. This is pretty cool. This is the always forget how to say it, the Listra de Gandia, I believe. This is from my eggplant seed collection. I love the purple striping on that, so that's pretty fun. And I am running a sale this weekend too, 20% off with the code Happy Fall. And oh yeah, Happy Fall, y'all. Can you believe we're already a couple of days into fall? Didn't it just seem like yesterday we were all doing the spring garden series together, planning our spring gardens, and here it is, fall. Now I know some of you might not be too happy about fall. Some of you might enjoy the break from the garden. Some of you might not be looking forward to winter. I know I always like the changing seasons, but I don't like the darkness at night where you can't get outside and do things in the garden. But you know what? It's just part of life. And it doesn't mean that you have to stop growing. Get your fall gardens planted, and if it's too late for that for you, get your indoor gardens planted. We're going to be growing through an indoor garden series together starting very soon. So stay tuned for that. But like I mentioned, I am running a sale this weekend to kick off fall, 20% off with the code Happy Fall over at CaliKimGardenandHome.com. Grab your fall garden seed collection, your indoor garden seed collection, and your smart pots and get to growing. It's really fun to hang out in the garden again together. I really missed you guys and definitely missed being out in the garden. The profusion zinnias, another thing that's gone really well, the white profusion and the bicolor profusion. The heat has not stopped these guys. They're getting a few holes in the leaves from probably some fleas or some type of bugs. The white ones look beautiful. And look at these peppers. Whew, those look great. I think these are California Wonders, but they may be a different variety because they're not turning red, they're turning yellow. So I'll have to check the tag on that one. You can see this one here is way, way overripe. So that one's a little bit mushy from the sun. The ones down at the bottom look absolutely beautiful. And I know these right here for sure are California Wonders. Peppers, definitely something that went well. Let's check out the Black Beauty eggplant. I harvested a whole bunch before I left. And oh wow, looks like I got a whopper down here as well. This one might be a little bit overripe. Eggplant you want to harvest when it's nice and shiny. That's a sign that you know, the seeds haven't grown too much and started making the eggplant bitter. Wow, this is truly a Black Beauty. This is a beautiful, beautiful eggplant, and actually it looks just about right. It's nice and shiny. That is a perfect Black Beauty specimen. So another thing that went well in the garden was the Black Beauty eggplant. Super happy about that. Now let's check out the tomatoes. More tomato plants here. This is the Megadom, and looking a little bit yellow and kind of just so-so. Little tomato going on there. So that's good. The, what's this one? The Domingo. I had some really nice looking tomatoes right before I left. So let's get around the other side and check those out. Ooh, nice. Not ripe yet, but very happy to see that the critters did not get to those. So I've got my work cut out for me to be trimming off all the yellowing off these tomatoes. Now these peppers here are the Sugar Rush Peach, and they're definitely starting to turn a light orange color. So these take forever to ripen. Some of you really helped me out with the comments on those, but they're very, very hot. But lots and lots of peppers on there. It is loaded down. There's probably 50 peppers. So I may be making some salsa or some pepper jelly. Some more tomatoes here in the smart pots, and I think the name of the game with the tomatoes is just pruning up and trimming the yellowing, because the tomatoes actually look pretty good. There's several tomatoes on there, but they are kind of getting to the end of their life as well. Now here in the red fountain planter area, as we call this, wow, looking pretty good at a far off look. Same issue with the tomatoes. This one is the, ooh, was that the yellow apple? Sun Gold, I don't quite remember without looking at the tag. Wow, look at the carrots. You guys remember we planted these on the Fall Garden Series video? They are popping up and probably going to be ready to be thinned within another couple of weeks. Now I had them covered with a shade cloth, which evidently blew off, but they've done pretty well in spite of the hot weather. Let me take a look at this one here. These are planted in a 5-gallon smart pots. And I love planting carrots in a container because of the loose soil. So these ones are just kind of starting to come up. I have a feeling some bugs got to those because they were coming up very nicely all around the container right before we left. So I may have to pop some more seeds in there. Wow, the birds are going crazy here this morning. But I'll come in and do a how to thin out carrots video here within a few weeks. The Gerbera daisies look fantastic in spite of the heat. They love the heat. Again, need deadheaded. This is, ooh, that does not look good. This is a, I think it's a summer salad tomato. Ooh, that's not looking good. I was actually going to be filming a video for Smart Pots for their website. So I may have to plant another tomato and get that going real soon so we can get that video filmed. The zinnias look fantastic. They love the heat. Cucumbers, lots of spots on the leaves. So I don't know, we may be coming to the end of the cucumbers in the garden here. But all in all, this garden bed, pretty good. So definitely some ups and some downs. So I think I have my work cut out for me over the weekend. Something that looks really, really good is the Tiny Tims. These I planted, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 weeks ago from seed and transplanted them just a few weeks ago right before we left into these 5-gallon Smart Pots. This is going to be probably my third wave of Tiny Tims. So these will probably produce for me well into the fall, into the winter. I may even bring these indoors. But they look very, very healthy, very good. That's one nice thing about starting over with new plants. You're not dealing with all the diseases and the plants just really do better. So tons of tomatoes on here, lots of flowers, a little bit of spotting. But these tomatoes look fantastic. And these are in my indoor garden seed collection if you want to grow them indoors during the winter. They're in the container garden seed collection. And you can grab the CaliKim Smart Pots in different colors over on my website as well. Right behind me too is also the blackberries, which are definitely coming to the end of their production, which is okay. That just kind of happens. It's part of the cycle of gardening. And we're actually going to be starting some construction. You can see behind here our deck. This deck is the original deck. I think it's probably 30 years old or older, as old as our house, and it is rotting out. The railings are rotting out. The stairs over on the side and the railing on the side right in front of the fence there, I don't know if you can see that, needs replaced. It's completely falling apart. So it's going to be a pretty major construction job over the next couple of months. And the blackberries are going to have to be moved. Our plans are to bump the deck out a little bit. We're constantly on the deck in the back, so we want to make it a little bit larger, expand. So I'm trying to find a new spot for the blackberries. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. I'm thinking maybe over against the fence, somewhere right behind me there. They do like this spot here because they get a lot of shade, which prevents them from completely frying. But they're going to have to be moved, and I'm a little bit nervous about how that's going to affect their growth next year. I'm going to head up the stairs now to the container garden. I already took a look at that yesterday. I couldn't resist when we got home, but I know I did have some pretty nasty hornworms up there. So really keep an eye out for those hornworms, those big old striped kind of spotted worms that like to get on your tomatoes, eggplant, and peppers. And a thing to look for, like I mentioned, is a strip of leaves, but actually the black droppings. Whenever you see that, it's a sign of those hornworms. Now typically I just pick them off, but you can also spray with something called BT. And I know Bonide has a BT product. I'll put a link for that in the video description. That works very, very well. So let's take a closer look and see if we can't find one of those nasties out here. Hi, Mac. Didn't you keep the hornworms away while we were gone? What's the deal? So unfortunately, there's lots of hornworm damage here on these tomato plants. So that is kind of a bummer. I really didn't expect them to be that bad while we were gone. They even got to the eggplant. Look at all the holes in the eggplant, and some of the leaves are just completely eaten away. The black droppings, I'm not seeing, well, there's a few black droppings here, but I'm sure there's probably a hornworm on this plant. It is just not looking near as good as it was when I left. Ooh, see that little nasty guy there? Okay, we'll take care of that after we're done filming the video. So all in all, the container garden looks pretty well. The new little tomato seedlings I was growing Also have some hornworm damage, some leaf miner damage. But the container garden actually looks pretty good. The nasturtiums, I cannot believe the nasturtiums are blooming in the heat we've had. That's pretty crazy. It does get partial shade here during the day. But all in all, my little kitchen container garden in the Smart Pots fared pretty well. Well, thanks a lot, everyone, for hanging out in the garden here with me today. It's great to be back. Great to see you again. Don't forget to head over to CaliKimGardeningHome.com. Take advantage of that 20% off sale with the code HAPPYFALL. And hope things are going well in your garden. Let me know down below what you're planting, what you're planning for your fall garden, for your indoor garden. So make sure you subscribe. Lots more gardening videos to come. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.